Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, July 30th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at scroundtable.com over the past week. All that fun stuff. Make sure to, like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, and so forth. Thank you so much for watching every week and for commenting. I do appreciate it. Announced on Monday that they have a new algorithm update we're rolling out over the next 2 weeks, so this full week and next full week. They're calling it the link spam update. And this link spam update, again, started on Monday, July 26th. It takes 2 weeks to roll out. It's a global and multilingual update, so it affects pretty much everything. It aims, according to Google, to nullify spammy links, not necessarily penalize them or demote them, but more of a kind of like disavow them, just not nullify them as they wrote. Ignoring links may feel like a penalty, so helping you at one point, and then they are now ignored by Google, this might feel like a penalty. People are very confused, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but basically around no following versus well sponsored. Again, no follow is fine. And Google won't say how much this actually impacted the search results. So that all started rolling out on Monday. What I did see was somewhat of a big update on Friday and Saturday of last week, so July 23rd and 24th, where there was this significant chatter in the SEO forums, not like a core update, but definitely significant chatter in the SEO forums, and the ranking tools definitely showed significant volatility and fluctuations in the Google search results. That was on July 23rd and 24th. A lot of people saw that. That was a couple days before, so 2 days before Google actually announced the update. So Google would say, no, it's not related, the weekend stuff was not related to what we rolled out on Monday. That's what they would say. Now, over the next few days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, saw pretty much nothing. No chatter outside of, Google announced this, but no chatter about ranking fluctuations, even in the Black Hat forums and so forth. But then on Thursday, we saw some signs of a Google update. Maybe it was related to the spam update. Maybe it was related to something else. I'm not sure. But the chatter was still very limited, but the tools kind of very much so spiked. Mozcast spiked, SEMrush spiked, Rank Ranger spiked, AccuRanker, Advanced Web Ranking, Serpmetrics, Alguru even spiked a day later. These tools spiked. They show up fluctuations. I don't think these tools necessarily track the most Black Hat areas, and I think this link spam update was probably focused more on the Black Hat areas than the what these tools track. So I'm kind of thinking this, what we saw on Thursday, the 29th, was kind of unrelated to this link spam update, but I don't know. Google, again, won't really confirm any of this. And again, back to this link spam update, Google wrote this really long post about the differences between affiliate links and sponsor links and how you should use the rel sponsored and not using Nofollow. And then at the end, in a paragraph, said, we're launching this link spam update. So everybody's like, oh no, do we have to go ahead and switch our rel nofollow attribute links to rel sponsored if it's affiliate? And Google's like, yeah, we like you to, but you do not have to. Nothing has changed with the guidelines, John Mueller said, around nofollow versus rel sponsored. Nofollow is still fine. Gary from Google said, we love you to help us out and make it more precise link by using rel and sponsored, but nofollow is fine, and so forth. So Google is saying it is okay to use the nofollow. You do not have to switch all your links to nofollow, from nofollow to sponsored. It won't make a difference in terms of this link spam update. So don't confuse the two, it's fine. Then Gary from Google on the Search Off the Record podcast this week, which was released, I think, yesterday, went ahead and spoke a little bit about how Google ranks features or different features and elements, more like vertical search engines. So if you do a search in Google and you search for whatever, sometimes an image carousel shows up, sometimes a video carousel shows up, sometimes Google shows feature snippets, sometimes Google shows map results, and so forth, all the vertical types of stuff, even related searches at the bottom. Gary described how this works, and he basically said in short that Google will assign the same scores for ranking to every document on the web, even news and even videos and images. But then within that thing, they actually have to go ahead and Google has to actually say this feature has to bid to be in this position. So if an image carousel wants to show up for this query, that image carousel might go ahead and bid against, using in some type of auction method, Gary said, against maybe a video carousel to show up in the same spot. And at the same time, the feature could actually go ahead and the image carousel or the video or the news box could also go ahead and say, hey, I want to be in position 3, not in position 4, and so forth. Google takes this all into account and then will then figure out which versions or which types of features or verticals actually could show up where, using this auction method. In addition, Gary also said that it uses click data for this purpose, for figuring out when it should show an image carousel versus a video carousel versus a top stories carousel, etc., feature snippet, and so forth. If people click on news more for a certain type of query, or people click on images more for a certain type of query, Google will learn that over time and then say, I'm going to show this image box because people want more images. Now, it's not saying I'm going to show this specific web page more because you clicked on it. It's not going to show I clicked on this image more, so I'm going to show this specific image, but it's going to show this feature more. Hopefully you get the difference. It's not ranking specific web pages or specific items, URLs in Google because of click data. It's ranking the feature, the whole carousel, the whole top stories because of click data. Hopefully you got that. I'm sure this is going to cause a whole new thing around CTR and how it impacts search and rankings, but again, Google has never said that. Google clarified this week that FAQ schema markup, structured data, must be visible on the page, but expandable sections where you can actually click to expand and then show the FAQ is perfectly fine, and that's considered visible stuff on the page. Google also said on the structured data side that fact check guidelines no longer allows multiple claim review elements on a specific page. You now have to show only one per page to be eligible to show up for for fact check rich results. Gary, again, posted something interesting on Twitter. He basically said that if your page or pages or some pages of your site show up in Google search and then all of a sudden they disappear, and then you go ahead and use the URL inspection tool to submit the page back into Google search, and then it reappears. So you're submitting pages manually to Google search and they reappear and then they drop out again. That means, according to Google, that the page is very, very close to that threshold of quality, meaning it's at the edge of should we rank this page or not. And if by submitting it to Google, you're kind of pushing it over that edge. You're giving it a temporary, what Google or Gary said, breathing new life into the page temporarily by submitting it to the index manually. So I wouldn't go ahead and submit pages to the index manually. It seems like that kind of may work temporarily, but it means that your pages are on that level of just on that edge of quality, and you probably want to improve your quality overall. So that's very important. John Mueller actually said this before, I think a few months ago. So it's nothing really new, but I like how Gary said it. Gary also said that generally localized versions of your website get their own signals. So if you have an English site for several years, and then you all of a sudden say, I'm going to make a French site at /fr on your website, Google generally will then not pass the English site's signals to the French version of the website, generally. That's what he said. I'm sure there's more nuance there, but just keep that in mind. Google's John Mueller said, we could assume that all the past speed updates that Google released, I think one in 2010 and one in 2018, all those have been probably replaced, assume they've been replaced by this page experience update with the Core Vitals. So keep that in mind. Google's testing indenting search results from the same domain. So if you have 2 or 3, usually 2, search results from the same domain, domain.com, Google will then go ahead and take the first one, show it here, and the second one, show it indented under it. It's a test. Here's a screenshot of that in action. Bing seems to launch a feature where it shows this image button, which you can see in the screenshot here, where you click on that image button in the snippet, and it actually loads a carousel from images from that website, which is pretty cool. Google Local is testing showing the areas served for a business, so service areas that this business serves in the actual local listings, which is pretty cool. Google Hotel Listings has added sustainability and eco certification attributes. So if your hotel listing does have those things, you could actually add those attributes to your listing, and maybe that Google will highlight that in your hotel result listings. Apple has revamped Apple Maps Connect, I think it was called, and rebranded as Apple Places. What's interesting is I had an Apple Maps Connect listing for my business, and now I had to verify my Apple Maps Connect listing with Apple Places. So you go to basically register.apple.com/placesonmap. I have a link to it on July 28th at seroundtable.com if you want to do it. Verify your business, and after you verify, then you can make changes to your business listings in Apple Maps. Google Ads just reminded us that old target CPA and old target ROAS bid strategies are going away. They're being moved like we discussed a couple months ago, so definitely take a look at that. Google Ads has imposed new surcharges to cover international taxes and fees and other things around international taxes and surcharges and so forth. It ranges from 2% to 5% on top of your bill if you're advertising those locations, so definitely take a look at that as well. Here's a screenshot of the different fees. Google has published their privacy sandbox timeline. Here's the timeline if you want to take a look at that. It's around Chrome and privacy. Keep in mind, Google may change those timeline monthly as things progress. And Google, Alphabet, and Microsoft has released ad revenue earnings, the earnings reports this week, and they both really kind of skyrocketed this past quarter compared to the previous quarter, where Google had a 69% jump in ad revenue, search ad revenue, or general ad revenue from $29.8 billion to $50.4 billion in the past quarter to the previous quarter. And Microsoft saw a 53% increase year over year with an increase of $737 million in search ad revenue for that company. So big numbers from those two companies. And on sad news, reporting again about another soul we lost in the industry. It's crazy how many people we're losing. Erik, Stafford, he was the creative director at AimClear. He passed away suddenly, unexpectedly this past week. I believe on Tuesday, I'm not sure exactly what date. He leaves behind a wife and I think 2 young children. Very, very popular in the SEO community, spoke at PubCon and multiple events, I think also XMX. And he was just a fun personality to be around, and it's just sad to see him pass at such a young age of 48. There is a GoFundMe page if you want to go ahead and support the family. Please do so. Be generous. And that's it. Everybody be safe. Be healthy. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz. This is the Search Buzz video recap, covering the news at the Search Engine Roundtable, searchingroundtable.com. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and today again is Friday, July 30th. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Goodbye.